Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of my journey into Royal Air Force. Today is definitely going to be a different one. Today we're going to be talking about the kit list, and as you can already see, we've hopefully got an unblurry camera. So all the ones out there that have been moaning about my blurry camera, well, today I've got a special one for you. Hopefully it's not blurry, but it's only going to be for this episode. Sorry, we're not sorry. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about my kit list for when I go in basic training. I know I said in previous videos, previous video, that I wasn't going to make another video until a couple of days prior to going in. You know, I talk about the sort of mental state and preparation and other things like that, and sort of where I am. But I was going to include the kit in that one, but I feel like it'll be too much to jam in one because it's going to be quite a little bit of a lengthy one. So I thought I'd do a separate one now, and that's what we're doing. So just before we actually jump straight in, I just want to state, if you have got the packet, the PDF document from the RAF that specify, I think in Annex C or something, what you got to take, like towels and flannels and, you know, toothbrush and paste and certain razors and all this stuff, like, well, not certain razors, but razors and other things like that. I'm not going to include absolutely everything. I'm just going to include things that I feel like that they mentioned but didn't specify, or they haven't mentioned that I'd recommend bringing, and just some general things that I'm going to be taking. And hopefully the whole point of this video is to not necessarily give people an edge over someone else, because it's not necessarily a competition. It's more to just ease your mind about going in, because obviously whether you're young, my age or older, any age group, this is going to be a big shift in your life. It's going to be a big change. So you want to try and be as less stressed as possible, even leading up and going into it. So yeah, there's a few things that I would recommend taking. I'll talk about that. And there's a few just things I'm just going to mention because I'll be taking them. So I'm going to use my trusty dinner table next to me to sort of just showcase them, and I'll talk about each one and get through it as quick as possible. So without further ado, let's go to the table. So we've made it to the dinner table, and as you can see in front of me, I'm going to be talking about my toiletries. Again, this doesn't include flannels and towels and other things like that, because there's not much else really to them. But starting off, we've got flip-flops now. To be honest, there's not many brands. These are just Bannatyne. But I, for some reason, feel like people are going to forget this. Okay, I don't know, because it says to have them for like showering and things like that. I don't know if they're really like necessary requirements, or they just sort of recommend it. But if they say to bring it, I would say bring it. Obviously, as I've already said, these are Bannatyne spas, so I guess they've got a little bit of a creature comfort when I think about the Himalayan salt sauna. If you don't know, you should. And obviously, it's a great spa place, so that's them. Second one, Harry's razors. To be honest, Bulldog, Gillette, Harry's, you know, any other sort of razor brand are not too bad. I just personally like this one, so I thought I'd go and buy a brand new one and sort of treat myself. This was about 12, 14 quid in Sainsbury's, nothing too crazy. Obviously, if you're young and you don't have that money, then hopefully your parents may be able to help you out in that regard. The only thing I would recommend of razors is not to get the disposable ones, you know, like Bic, the brand Bic, or I think they might be Model. It's like, you know, the ones I talk about where it's, you know, the whole thing and there's loads of them in one. I just don't think they're very good quality and not very good for your skin. So I'd recommend where you can change the heads properly, and this one would be perfect. So moving on, now this one, this sort of area is not really necessary. It's just something that I'm going to be personally bringing. It doesn't state it, and I wouldn't necessarily say you have to bring it either. But this is sort of like, this is to sort of represent maybe just some skincare routine, especially facial routine. So this is just some wake up, what's it called? Wake up effect face wash. I use this sometimes, but not all the time. I don't actually know whether I will be bringing it, but I thought I'd mention anyway, just in case I will. Again, this is not necessary. This is my sort of hair wax. This is Totex bubblegum. It's one of my favourite ones. Now, again, you definitely don't need this one. The reason why I'm bringing this is more of a sort of personal confidence. If I'm shaving, you know, wearing smart uniform and just looking smart, I just want to, even though if I'm wearing a head, wearing a hat, I still want my hair to look as nice as possible in my definition. So it's more of a personal and a little bit of a creature comfort. And obviously my favourite sort of skull and cross hair comb. So that's just, again, that's not necessary. Same goes for these. These are my aftershaves. So again, I'm not looking at smelling nice for anyone or going on a night out. But if I'm having quite a cleansing wash, or you know, it's hot outside, I want to try and smell as nice as possible. So I've got some Sauvage, which is one of my favourites. And then these are Essence Vaults, because the real ones are very expensive. So I think this top one is Creed Aventus, and then this one is Baccarat Rouge. So again, it's not necessary, but personally, just more on a personal confidence, and sort of just feeling nice and smelling nice. I'm just going to take them as well as creature comfort. But sort of connecting with that, obviously deodorant, I would definitely recommend you guys bring that, because it's probably going to be hot, especially in April, May and other bits like that. Even if it's in the winter, if you're going in the winter time you're watching this, you're going to be sweating and stuff. So deodorant, Shoremen, Right Guard, or whatever the girls one is, obviously. And that goes for the same with the razors. Whatever the girls are, I don't know, because I ain't a girl, believe it or not. So that's going to be that. And then shave gel, mine's just Men Advanced. There's nothing special about this. So again, get some shave gel. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend necessarily buying the sort of cheapest brand. I would say, you know, this was, I don't even know which one this was. I think this is about £1.50, so it's not mad expensive. But get a half decent one, same as the razors. So that's all going to be my toiletries. A little bit of creature comforts. Again, this sort of stuff, other than this one and this one, you don't particularly need. This is just something that I'm bringing personally for myself. But this sort of stuff I would recommend bringing. And yeah, so we're going to move on to my sort of homely things and my creature comforts mainly. And yeah, we'll talk about it in a sec. I'll see you in a minute. Right, so these are going to be my creature comforts. Obviously, not as much as the toiletries. So firstly, Bible. Obviously, I've mentioned previously in videos that I am religious and I've been studying the Bible. So, you know, whenever I've got free time, I know in basic training I'm not going to have a lot of free time, but when I do, obviously I love to read the Bible. I do really enjoy it. Obviously, my trusty cross as well, which follows on from that. I'll be wearing day to day, nothing too crazy, just a nice wooden, simple one. And this one's probably the most important out of all of it. This is, I don't know if you guys can read the writing on that, but this is a Christmas card which my partner gave me. And it says, "Merry Christmas, Daddy. Can't wait to meet you. Love from the bump." And it's got a lovely little, I think this is our second scan, you know, little photograph there. And on the inside it says, "To Daddy, I can't wait to finally meet you next year. Lots of love, the bump." Obviously, that was in Christmas time. So that's going to be obviously very important. And it's just to, you know, to have that on the side wherever I can put that, whether it's on a shelf or, you know, anywhere. And it's just to sort of remind me, and it sort of goes hand in hand with the Bible as well, that I am doing this personally for a very important reason, and that just give me that extra drive, because obviously base training is going to be difficult. So the days where it's really getting hard, I'll just look at that and remember that I'm doing this for a big reason than myself. And then just as a more of a nice one, obviously headphones, in case, again, if I'm polishing shoes or whatnot in the evening, just to throw on some music. I'll probably play it out loud, obviously quietly, so it's not disturbing in everyone else. But just in case I want to be a bit more private and you know, listen to music on my headphones, then I've got them as well. So again, nothing too crazy. I don't need a lot, sort of homely creature comforts, but that's what I'm going to take personally, just to remind me of home and sort of things while I'm doing this. So yeah, that's going to be my homely stuff. And yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the polishing side now, which is going to be quite a big, lengthy one, but you know, we'll get through it. So I'll see you in a second. All right, so now we're on to the last and quite a big part. So I'll spend a little bit of time doing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through all these different products here, and then I'll actually give a quick, really brief way on how to polish your shoes. I'm not going to do a whole video because that will take me quite a while. That's a whole video in itself. So starting off, obviously cotton wool balls and pads. This is mainly for the bulling stage. So you've got 3 stages. Again, I'll talk about it more in depthly in a minute. So you've got the foundation stage, you've got the polishing stage, and you have the bulling phase. And again, I'll talk about that in a sec, and that's relevant to them. And here I've got some of the old ones. So this is actually some of my tins from cadets. And if you've known about shoe polish, you'll know that they are an old one, as you can tell from the design. You can't actually get Kiwi anymore. I would recommend if you can get Kiwi, because Kiwi is a great brand. You know, otherwise you can use Cherry Blossom, which I'm going to be using for my dark tan boots. But yeah, it doesn't, to be honest, all polish is roughly the same. I've just always used Kiwi, and this is actually the most recent one that I've bought off Amazon, because Kiwi don't actually sell in the UK anymore for whatever reason. And yeah, if you can, I don't know if you can actually read it up close. I don't think you can. But on the writing where this would be, you know, shoe polish, world's #1, it's English. This is all written in Russian or somewhere in Eastern Europe. So I don't know what happened with that. You know, I probably stole the Russian army's polish, boot polish. So hey, if they're missing some, don't come looking for me. Yeah, so I've got loads more. I've got about 3 or 4 more tins. So I'm going to take all of them on camp. And if anyone sort of maybe needs something or to use them, that's not a problem either, because I've got too many. So obviously on and off brushes, you've probably seen that on the Annex C, on and off. And yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit more in depth, what it means to be on and off, but it's quite self-explanatory. This is mainly used for boots and the foundation stage of the shoes. But once you get past the foundation stage of the shoes, again, I'll talk about this in a sec, you do not use brushes on your shoes, very important, okay? But on your boots, just to keep them clean, this is where they will be most used. So this is the crowning jewel of polishing. This is, I never actually can say the name. I feel like it's Selvet or Selvet cloth or Selvetti cloth or whatever it's called. Whatever that one is, you can get them on Amazon. I bought two, one on, one off. Same concept as the brushes. And some people would say that, you know, you don't necessarily need an on and off one, but I personally do. I don't know why, I've just always done it, so I think it's just normal for me. So, and again, this is actually, you might think, why is there an ordinary toothbrush? Okay, so obviously this, I haven't used this one, I'm just using this as an example for this video, but this is great at getting in these grooves. So this is actually my old parade shoes, and I think they're actually RAF issued ones, because apparently it zigzags me in it. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. That's what I was told when I was a cadet. So as you can tell, very bland, because I haven't polished these in about 10 years. And they've been thrown around left, right and centre in those times because I don't use them anymore. So it's to get in these little grooves here. And the great thing about the toothbrush is if you was to polish sort of the side of it, the side of the heads, you can then sort of get really close and in there without actually scuffing or scratching the actual bulling when you get to the really mirror shine. It's a very great tool to get around there just to make it nice and clean. Okay, so that's why it's very useful. Again, that's not stated. I recommend you guys bring that specifically for polishing, not to obviously polish and then brush your teeth, you lunatics, if you're going to do that. Okay, so I'll give a very quick, I'm not obviously going to actually do it, but I'm just going to pretend to actually do it. So the first thing, well, firstly, the way I do it ain't necessarily the right way to do it or the wrong way to do it. There is many different ways of polishing the shoes. When I was in cadets, I saw crazy stuff. When I went on summer camp, I saw people use lighters, like actual flames, to melt with the wax on and all that crazy stuff. I probably wouldn't recommend doing that. But yeah, the main thing, the main sort of core thing about polishing you need to remember is to build up layers, like thin layers, constantly. Patience and elbow grease, they're the three most important ones. Okay, it's not going to be done overnight. It's going to take quite a while to get there, but once you get there, you'll feel some form of achievement, because it is not an easy thing to do. Okay, so what you would firstly do, let's say you've got a brand new shoe, so let's ignore these. This is fresh off the boat and they've had no polish whatsoever. Some people would recommend maybe wiping them down just in case they've got any oils from the, you know, the construction of the shoe and whatnot. I never did. And then secondly, what I'll do is I'll get some, let's see if I can get some, you can tell how old these are. These have got little twiddlers where they've got twists and turns. So I'll pop that open like that. So what I would do is I'll get 2 fingers. Some people use on brushes, some people use cloths or even cotton wool pads. But if you was to wash your hands, get rid of all the oils and stuff from your hands and get a decent amount of polish on your fingers. So I'm not going to do it now. And then what I'll do is I'll put my hand in the shoe like this and I'll lather it up, get loads and loads on there, okay? And it will go all dull and very grey, and you can either go in circles or back to, like, sort of side to side, side to side, up and down and whatnot, and just cover the whole shoe. So from toe cap to heel. Obviously you don't need to do this bit here, anything like this, to where the main shoe is, okay? Do all that. Once that's all done, and to maybe answer some people's questions, when is it enough? No one ever has that answer. Is when you feel like it's enough. So don't worry about if you've never polished shoes before, you know, getting too much or getting too little on there. You know, it's just a learning curve, something you will learn. Once you do that, then you would leave your shoes for about 10 minutes. Not necessarily in the sun. Some people would do in the sun, and this is where the lighter, what I was mentioning in cadets, would do. You want the polish to harden. Now, how do you know when the polish is hardened? It's because if you was to run your fingers on it, no black should come off on your fingers, okay? That means the polish is hardens in there. Now, the second one I would do is get your on and off brushes, hopefully they're fresh ones, okay? And I'll get my off brush, let's say my yellow one, right? So that means you don't put polish on it. Off means you take polish off. And then I'll just give it a quick brush over. I'm not yanking it in and tearing up the polish. I'm just sort of shaving it off and giving it a light shine, okay? It's going to be sort of just a little bit of a, it's not even going to be a mirror reflect. It's just going to be a bit of a clean look and a little bit of a shine around it, because that's called the foundation stage. Okay, once you do that, some people then, you know, this is where it starts getting a bit in the realm of do it your own way sort of thing. Some people leave it for a minute because, again, the polish then moves. I don't personally. I'll go in the next phase, which is polishing, and that's where these two come in. So what I'd personally do is, let's say this is my on one. I'll get 2 fingers, obviously index and forefinger. Is then I'll wrap it like this, twist it, bring that wrap around and hold it. these are the two fingers. I'll then dab this in water. So what you could do, get your tin, fill that up with cold water, okay? And I'll just tap it. You don't want it soaked, so you just want it a decent amount of damp wet. And if it is really, really soaked, you left it in there, then just rinse it out so it's just damp. Then what I'll do is I'll literally just, I'm not going to do it now because I don't want it's dirty yet, is I'll probably just tap it, have a look. If it's really not a lot on there, I might just tap again or just give it a tiny little circle. You don't want loads, but you don't want little as well, okay, because you're still building up those layers. And all you would do is, again, you can do the same thing back to front, or you can go in circles. It's up to you, okay, until you cover the shoe. And that's basically that. Once I do that, and again, to answer people's questions, how do you know when there's enough? Obviously, what I would tend to do is break it up. So if I'm going to do the toe, obviously that toe is quite a smallish sort of section. So I think one sort of go at it, maybe two. So I might, you know, half the shoe in the middle, or just focus on this side, get another lot, focus on that side. Once that's done, I would leave it to harden again. So I might go and focus on another part. So I'll start on this bit, start on that bit. Then once I've done this bit, obviously I would halfen this bit because that goes all the way around. I'll use this line as a sort of a breaker, if you will, and I'll create an imaginary line down there just to separate the two parts. I'll get that all done, and then I'll go back to the toe and I'll get my off one. So this will be absolutely clean like this. This one will obviously be polishy colour. And I'll do the same again, two fingers, grab that, wrap it around and hold it. And then all I'll do is I'll just dab the water again, put no polish on it, and I'll just go either back to front or in circles. If you've done it in circles, go in circles, mimic it. If you went back to front, go back to front. And you do that, again, it's personal judgment. I would say between 15 and 20 times on each section. Again, you're building that up. Once that's done, and again, there's no, will that be a mirror shine, will it not? It's all different. Most of the time for me personally, it doesn't. That might just be the way I do it, but you know, everyone's different. You're going to find people saying different things. Then that's the polishing stage done. Now, this is where the bulling comes in, and this is where, well, personally, I prefer pads instead of balls, but you can use the both. And it's similar to the polishing stage, but the difference is this one you only go in circles and quite small. Okay, so what you'll do is you'll take a pad, you'll sort of like just dunk the whole thing in there, get the whole water in there, rinse it out so there's no more dripping water, and then I'd fold the pad in half and fold it again like a little pizza slice, if you will, a little triangle. And then what I would do is get, literally, you're just going to be tapping it like that, and you're barely going to get any on there. Obviously, not nothing, but it just has to be a slight haze of dark, because this is where you're going to build up that mirror shine. Okay, and then what I'll do, same thing like this, take a section, let's say I'll start with a toe. I would start from the bottom and I would circle it like this. Again, so you don't want the circle to be too big so you're not covering all areas, but you don't want it too small, because then it's going to take you forever and you're going to use too much polish. So just a decent amount, as I would say, something like that would be a decent amount. Some people that's like a lot, some people like to go small. It's all personal opinion and how you would do it. So you'll find your own way. Okay, once that's done, then I would let that harden again. Again, if I only done half of it, I'll do the other half, but I wouldn't let it harden as much as I would do on the original polished one. I'll get straight into an off one of these. Okay, dunk that whole thing, same again as the off one on this. Okay, rinse it out, get all the drops out, get it nice and damp, and do the exact same thing again. And again, this is where the amount of times you do it is all dependent on how far you got with your polishing. It might take way much more than I did, okay, or vice versa. I might take much more than you did. So don't get your hopes up if it's taken a while, because it is going to get to, it's going to take a while to get there. So, you know, set yourself some time every night, and just, you know, it's not something that's going to happen overnight, okay? And that's why you don't buy gloss, because they will shine up really quick, and then the staff will know. They want you to put effort in, and there's a reason for it, which I'm sure they might explain, or maybe not, on the course. And that's basically, in a nutshell, what polishing is. If you've never polished, you probably have no clue what I just said, but don't let it get in your head. They will tell you how to do it, but once they tell you, you'll start to remember, oh, I remember when Jake mentioned this and that and the other thing, okay? But if you want to know a bit more, I did look up certain videos online before doing this, and most of them are universally the same, okay? So if you want to look up some YouTube tutorials, they're mostly all the same. So yeah, that's basically that. So I said quite a long one, but hopefully that gives you guys a bit of an idea of how polishing works. And yeah, the main thing that I made a mistake on in cadets is that I really wanted it done quick. It's something that takes time. So don't, just give it some amount of time. Enjoy it. Polishing is much as it sounds boring, it is quite enjoyable when you start seeing the results. So yeah, just get through it. And remember, black, dark tan. This is dark tan, this is black, no gloss. Okay, so it has to be black and dark tan. If you can't get kiwi, you can go and get cherry blossom black. It's not going to make much of a difference. Again, I just want to say this is my preferred brand because I've used it for over 10 years. And yeah, I think that's everything with polishing. So I'm going to quickly just jump over to the last bit of, I know I said this is the last bit, but I'm going to do an honourable mention, which you guys will probably never guess where it is, and then we'll wrap up this video. So let's go and do that. And guys, I bet you never guessed that this is what the honourable mention would be. Baby powder or talcum powder, whatever, right? Now, this is a lifesaver, okay? Now, if you guys have gone on hikes, walks, I used to do a lot of hiking and walks in cadets and field crafts where you're constantly on your feet using boots. What's the most common thing when you do that? Is blisters on your feet, right? Now, some people might ask, well, how would this solve blisters? Well, first and foremost, blisters are formed from what? Friction, okay? But then the question is, why is it you're not getting a blister as soon as you start walking? Why is it usually happens over time? And the main reason, because, for anyone who wants a bit of a lesson out there, is because there is friction already, but not enough to cause a blister. Okay, what happens though when you start walking? Your feet sweat. What's in sweat? Salt. Okay, even though whether it's micro salt or whatever you want to call it, it's still enough to be very abrasive and actually cause the blister. What does this do? This sucks up salt. Okay, this is a lifesaver, especially when you're going on long, you know, especially if your feet are not used to walking as well as those long distances. And you've got new boots and stuff, this can be a really good lifesaver. It's not necessarily going to prevent it. It's not going to be, you know, a vaccine or a cure to blisters, but this is definitely going to be a great helper for it. So all you would do is, before you go on any walk, obviously turn it on. I'm not going to do it here because I ain't got a sock. You'll get your sock and just do a decent amount, not obviously load it so it's completely full, but a decent amount, and give the sock a shake just to get it all round, and then put it on your feet. Okay. And trust me, the great thing about it feels like you're walking on pillows as well. So it's a great thing, and it soaks up all the sweat. So what I would recommend you're doing, obviously probably in basic training, I'm sure there is parts where you'll go and camp out and things like that and do quite a lot of walking. I would recommend taking probably 2 or 3 extra pairs just in the back, because obviously this ain't going to last forever. Your feet are going to sweat more than how much powder there is. Once it starts getting to that point where you can start feeling quite a bit of a rub, stop instantly, take those socks off, put them sort of like time around your bag on the outside so the air can dry them out and get rid of all the sweat. So if you need to reuse them at a much later date, then you can do so. And then get a new pair, do the same again. Bung them on there, maybe bung some around your feet, rub it around your feet, and then just, you know, crack on again. So this would be an absolute lifesaver, and I recommend you guys get it. Obviously this wasn't mentioned in the pack, but yeah, definitely a lifesaver, and it's saved me more times than I can thank it. So yeah, that'll be the honourable mentions. Alright guys, so that's going to be the end of the video. As I've already said, you know, this is obviously going to be my entire kit. I haven't included like iron and ironing board and, you know, towels and socks and pants because I don't feel like it's relevant. I just wanted to talk about things that I'm going to be personally taking that maybe you guys didn't think about. And, you know, and just again, like the polishing thing, I know some people might not know how to polish. So I just wanted to run through that. But in terms of towels and, you know, you have to take some documents and stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to include that in this video. That's something that you guys are going to take. And, you know, just to actually quickly touch on the ironing thing, I have heard people say this brand of iron, that brand of iron. Personally, I've used many different brands of iron and it makes no freaking difference in my eyes. Unless you get like a mega cheap one that is clearly crap. If you buy a half decent, I don't even know what makes there are anymore, but Hobbs, is that a brand? Hobbs or something like that, I don't know. Yeah, as long as they're half decent, ironing board ain't going to make a freaking difference. As long as it springs up and it's a decent size one, you're going to be fine. Okay, and obviously towels, you know, other bits like that, it's not really relevant to be put in this video, so that's why, before any of you guys are wondering. So, yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Hopefully you found it informative. If you have any questions about what I've brought up and you want to know a bit more about it, please leave it in the comments and I'll ask it as best as I can. Or if I didn't include anything and you think about bringing it, again, just ask me and I'll give you my own personal opinion. But just to sort of touch on it on a personal front, guys, when it comes to personal things, I definitely recommend you guys bring some personal things, like me with the card for my daughter and then the Bible and things like that. Obviously, they're very personal to me, and I think that's quite an important thing. You don't obviously want to feel homesick so you can't get through it, but you just want that enough to get you through it and make sure, you know, you're doing this for an important reason. Obviously, I know probably most of you haven't got a child on the way, but you can sort of relate to, okay, you know, whatever reason why you're doing it, even if it's for yourself, just give yourself that bit of confidence and a bit of little bit of a homely vibe for when, you know, times are getting a little bit tough, so you can sort of push through it and get through it. But yeah, other than that, I think that's going to be the end of the video, and I will definitely now not see you until the 2 days before video that is going to be coming out in about 3 weeks time from recording this, and yeah, 3 or 4 weeks time. And yeah, so again, if you have any questions, please ask in the comments. But until the next video, I hope you have a good rest of your day, and do let us know when you're going to be going. I know some of you said on the start of April and end of May and bits like that, and if you're starting on later or whatever parts of your application you're on, do let us know, and I wish you all the best of luck regardless of what part you're on, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.